What are we doing in Omaha? We're making a podcast. A few of my friends have done podcasts like just kind of on their own or out of their basement, and I think like I wasn't prepared to do it that way because I don't know the first thing. So kind of having Hurrdat behind me and behind us like made the process so much smoother and easier, because had I had to do it on my own, it just wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
They can kind of do everything. So media, graphics, coming up with music for the show, like they just did the whole package.
Yeah.
First of all, you gotta find a name. What is that? You gotta get that name approved. Is anyone else using that? Is it gonna be catchy?
Gosh, yeah.
Having help with scheduling. Like I can barely get my own schedule going, let alone try to schedule people for interviews, and you know, a lot goes into that side of things. So having that help and support is, it's unmatched.
Right.
Huge thank you to Hurrdat. That I wouldn't be here without them. I couldn't have done it without them.
I'm Malia White, real-life bosun and cast member on Bravo's Below Deck Med. Working in my industry can be very interesting. These are my stories. As you'll find out, my world is a total ship show.
Hi guys, welcome back to Total Ship Show. I'm Malia.
I'm Amanda.
And today I'm going to be answering some fan questions.
Ooh, you excited?
Yeah, I am excited. These are questions that you've sent me on Instagram. I put the feelers out to kind of get what you're interested in, so I'll be answering those. Kind of nervous.
Why are you nervous?
I don't know, what if there's like some deep ones?
Well, you're going to have to get
deep.
deep.
How I am. Did you think I'd ever be answering like fan questions?
No.
Oh, thanks.
No. Fan questions? No. No. But here we are. I mean, I also never thought you'd be on a reality show, or that we would be doing a podcast.
Really? You didn't see that for me?
Hell no.
But like something crazy.
I mean, yeah, but I always saw you doing something like in the ocean, but never like on TV.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, I mean, I remember I told
Got
you
a
like.
face for radio.
Okay, that's not true.
I've got a personality for radio.
No, that's not. I think I just, it's like when anyone that you know goes and does something that's like sort of.
Like not like the norm.
Yeah, or like, like fame related. Like it's so crazy to like see Instagram and see all these people who comment on your posts and none of them know you. And
you're like, I know her. She's like, not that exciting.
Yeah, I'm like, you guys think she's cool? Why are you guys boosting her ego like this? Just kidding. Oh, I love it. All right, you ready for the first question?
Yeah, give it to me.
All right, okay. So, from Nikayla Holmes, what has been your best charter season yet?
My best charter season, that is a tough one. Man, I had a really fun charter season in the Med last summer. And what makes it like a really good charter season is the guests that you have. So shout out to my favorite guests. I won't mention their names, but they know who they are. We had, it was like a bunch of young, like my age, with their parents, and like they got the crew so involved. Like it's the best when guests get crew involved.
Yeah, like how so? Like playing games?
Yeah, like every day they wanted us to go like tubing with them, skiing, like
fun.
wake surfing, and they were just like the coolest, they'd kind of pick up after themselves. They were so polite, and crew just absolutely loved that, you know? Obviously, no one likes to be treated like staff, even though that's what we are, but that's what makes the best charter season. And of course I would be lying if I didn't say tips.
Right.
So one time I had a charter in Fiji for an entire month, and that's the biggest single tip I've ever made, which that was cool.
Wow. Can I ask you what those range?
Well, that one in particular, for 1 month we made 10 grand in tips each.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was huge.
Nice.
That's not normal.
It's a long charter.
But okay, so tips also, I get asked this question a lot actually about tips, and like, is it really what you see on like the show? And yeah, I mean, tips range, but it also depends on the size of the boat that people are chartering. So, the bigger the boat, or the nicer, the newer, probably the more that the guests are paying.
Right.
So then you're gonna get higher tips.
Yeah. Do they go by sort of like, you know, like when you go out to eat, you tip 20%, or when you go to a spot, is it sort of that same rule of thumb?
That's what we hope for. Yeah. Like 20% is good. That's a really good tip.
Yeah.
So it kind of ranges, but around there. You hope for that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. As my financial advisor.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, where's that money? Show me the money. All right. So our next question from Rozzy C. How hard is it to shower and dress in tiny crew cabins? And I love this because I actually asked Malia the other day about this. Just like, whoa, you're literally sleeping on top of each other. Like, how do you get any alone time? So curious about this one.
Yeah, the shower bit is tough because, like, you know me.
How do you shave your legs?
Okay, that's the thing. You kind of have to shave with the shower door open. Like, I have to stand outside of my shower, stick my leg into my shower, and then, like, you know, switch my legs, and then eventually take a shower. You kind of have to do it in stages.
Yeah.
And I'm tiny, so, like, imagine the bigger guys on the boat. Like, I don't know how. Luckily, they don't shave their legs, but, like, it's tiny shower.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing I don't like is there's lots of things I don't like, but the bathrooms are so small. So if you take a hot shower, like everything in the bathroom gets that like moisture on it, you know.
And you're in the ocean.
Well,
so
yeah, and you can't open the door because your roommate's in there, and you're like, oh, now I have to get dressed in this like swamp.
Man. Yeah.
It's the worst.
Isn't it one of those things like where you never like cool down because you're always just like.
Yeah, and like well, you know me, I like walk around the house naked and things. Like I'm so comfortable being naked. But obviously you don't want to wake. And my roommate and I are totally cool being naked around each other. But on charter, you don't want to wake them up.
Well,
so
you're on different schedules, right?
Yeah, and you're like, so you're trying to change in the bathroom, and then you have to like get showered and change in the.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have that like drying out period.
Yeah.
Which
like how many bathrooms are there on a yacht?
Well, no, every crew member, like every cabin has their own bathroom.
Oh, wow.
Like, well, on mine. Some of the smaller ones don't. They share, and
Interesting.
that's disgusting.
Yeah, that is. It almost would be kind of nice, though, to have like a shared, I don't know, like dorm room style, where you at least then have more room. But I don't know. I say that, but in reality, I probably would hate
really
that.
Gross.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Showers are interesting, but we get by. It's not as, you know, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Man, I don't know how you like, I guess you're not worried about styling your hair or anything like that.
Not at all. My makeup and hair routine while I'm on charter is very minimal.
Yeah, moisturizer, sunscreen.
Well, it's like what is it? Moisturizing foundation, whatever. That's like all I wear.
Yeah, you wear foundation though?
Well, what's it called? The moisturizing.
Oh, tinted moisturizer.
Yes, there we go. That's it.
I'm like, ooh, I wouldn't wear makeup.
Yeah. Well.
All right. So our next question from Kieran34. Are some of the scenes during filming staged or refilmed, or is everything really live and in the moment?
Everything's live. Sometimes, you know, so this is in reference to the show. Sometimes when we're filming, the cameras might have missed something, so they'll come back and they'll just be like, hey guys, like, can we kind of get that on film again? But everything's, what you're seeing is real. It's, you know, it's reality TV. You're getting the real deal, the real Malia. For better or for worse, as you've seen through the seasons. Like,
for better or for worse.
Can't hide.
Okay, from J Cooper 13. How did you get cast for the show, and how long were you in yachting before? I think like the most asked question is how long you were in yachting and how to get into yachting, and so it's an interesting story.
It's something that people are really interested about, you know, like rightfully so. I think, as we've heard like multiple times, I'm from a really small town in Oregon. I had never been on a yacht. I wasn't in yachting when I got cast for the show. I got cast as a total green crew member, and by green, I mean I had never stepped foot on a yacht before.
No experience.
Yeah, my only experience in boating of this type was on dive boats. So I knew how to tie a line, I knew how to, like, you know, I knew what a cleat was, but I had never, ever, I hadn't even seen a yacht. Like, I'm from a really small town, and like in Hawaii, I worked on shit dive boats. I didn't work on white glove boats, so. And then the casting process, so my very first boat that I worked was the boat that I filmed on at my first season. And from there, I gave being a deckhand a try. And I remember telling Captain Sandy, I was like, I'm probably just going to go back to teaching scuba diving. And she was like, no, you've got this. And then I was like, you know what, maybe I will give it a go.
Yeah.
And that was my intro into yachting.
Yeah, she was totally like a great mentor, like a first person for you to be exposed to in that industry.
Yeah, I mean, I've said this before. I don't know that I would have stayed in yachting had I not had a female captain to begin with.
Yeah.
So I was very lucky, and my intro into yachting was definitely not the norm.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, from Misco Disco. The show doesn't show engineers, but we know that they're there. Are they normally helping crew?
So the engineers are behind the scenes. Every time that we film, you have to have an engineer or an officer, a captain behind the scenes kind of for liability reasons. Every boat has engineers, and I would say on every boat, whether they're filming or not, they're kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah,
They're
like the mechanics sort of, right, of the boat. Like they make sure that everything is running, all the gears are turning in the right direction, basically. Okay.
Your engineer is like your chief engineer and your captain are, equals. They're like, they are in charge, liability wise, they're in charge of the vessel overall. And so engineers are kind of more behind the scenes. They're making sure all the systems work. Yes, they do help out crew if we need it. Typically in my job, as a bosun, the only time I really need an engineer to come out on deck is if something's not working. If I'm going to use a winch or I'm trying to get the hydraulics going and something's not working, I'm like, hey, engineers, I need help.
Yeah.
And we're not really allowed to touch electricity, so we get those guys to do it.
Gotcha.
Because they know what they're doing.
On your current boat, how many engineers are there?
Three.
Yeah, out of
we've
the
got
24
a chief
crew.
Yeah, so a 72-meter vessel, you have three. We've got a chief engineer, a second engineer, and an ETO. So the ETO is an engineer that's just in charge of AV/IT, because as you can imagine, these boats have tons of systems that require. I mean, guests, they're like, we're in the middle of nowhere, and they're like, I want my internet to work as if I'm sitting in the United States. And you're like, great. The engineers are like, awesome, cool. Crew, can you shut off all of your phones? And we're like, yeah, sure.
Jeez.
Yeah, or if there's a sporting event, charter guests will come on and be like, yeah, I want the Super Bowl to stream perfectly while we're in the middle of the Galapagos.
Oh,
and
that's an interesting. I just sort of during filming, you don't really see TVs.
That's because we're not allowed to.
Have anything.
Because they'd have to then.
But normally, if it's a Super Bowl, they might be out there literally sitting on the boat watching the game.
Oh yeah, guests come on during they come on and they want to watch the game. They have certain TV programs they want to watch.
They want to live the same life they're living at home.
Exactly,
in the middle of the ocean.
And they want it to stream at that quality while we're at anchor in the middle of the ocean. Yeah,
high expectations.
Yeah. But we get it done. Engineers are pretty amazing.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, our next question from Mir the Vanderveen. Which colleague do you still keep in touch with?
Colleagues, I keep in touch with quite a bit. Pretty much everyone from all my seasons. I mean, there's a few people that I obviously don't communicate with, but this
probably pretty easy to tell.
Yeah, I think we all know who that is. But this last season, we still have a group chat called Let's Get Fucking Splitted.
Oh, okay. From that last episode where you guys all said what happens
went to
split stays and split.
Yeah, so we still have this group chat. We all keep in touch. We try to see each other when we're in various ports. And, Bobby's been a longtime friend. Bugsy's been a longtime friend. I hear from Alex here and there. It's all, Captain Sandy and I are close. Regardless of what anyone thinks.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like, just like a normal job. You move jobs, but you always keep in touch with people.
Yeah, well, and the thing about yachting is when you're on the same boat, you're best friends.
Yeah.
But then, you go to a different boat, they go to a different boat, people move on with their life, and it's so hard.
You don't have internet for days at a time.
Yeah, or even you and I, best friends, and you'll FaceTime me, 18 times before
Oh my gosh, I can vouch. I will be texting you constantly hey, call me back, like,
hey, bitch.
yeah, hey, call bitch back. Like, I've called you 6 times,
Yeah,
you know.
so, it's like we keep in touch, we're friends,
Right.
but it's difficult,
Yeah.
as it is in any industry in life, you know, it's hard.
Yeah, but especially when you're totally checked out and there's times when you can't even be on the internet, you know.
Yeah.
I don't have that excuse. So if I don't answer, it's because I don't want to talk to you.
I know.
All right, so from Aaron, as bosun, do you have any input on your deck crew hiring?
No, not really, no. The hiring is left up to the captain. The chief officer will kind of have an input. The only time as bosun that I would maybe have an input is if I maybe knew the person, or is someone, if we had worked on a mutual boat or they worked on a boat that I worked on, the captain would say, you know, what do you know about this person? But ultimately, usually, and you know, again, every boat's different, every boat has a different structure, but usually hiring is left up to the captain. But a lot of the times, the captain will hire based upon what the guest want, or sorry, what the owner wants.
Oh, right.
The owner will say, you know, I kind of want this vibe, or I don't really want this. Like, everyone's heard of these boats where they're not allowed to hire attractive women. And there's a lot of misses out there that don't want a lot of attractive stewardesses running around with their, you know, millionaire husband.
Yeah.
So like they had all these like
So interesting.
profiles that they do or don't want. You know, like some want everyone to be super tall. Some don't want, you know, people that speak a certain language. Like Russians, like won't hire a lot of crew that speak Russian.
That's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just all these different preferences. So no, as bosun, I don't really have a say. It's more like what the owner wants, what the captain wants, and what kind of crew they want.
Yeah. Do they ever ask you, like, you know, does the captain ever say, hey, I need to hire another bosun, like, what's a skill set that you really need somebody who's amazing at this?
Yeah, but that's because I have a really I've worked for this captain on and off for several years now. So my captain now would come to me and be like, what do you think? What do we need on deck?
Yeah.
Like currently, so I have a deck crew of 5, a team of 5 under me. And at first it was 5 guys. And I said, well, how about we switch it up? I'd like to have some more ladies on deck. So now we've got 3 guys and 2 ladies under me. And I was like,
get those ladies in there.
Yes,
I love it.
Girls on deck.
Yeah, I love to hear that. All right, perfect. So from John Gomez, what scares you about yachting? That's a good one. We haven't talked about this yet. Yeah.
Well, actually, this is part of the reason I wanted to do the podcast, because I wanted to show the other side of yachting, the side that's not all rainbows and butterflies, and kind of the side that guests don't really see either. Like, a lot of stuff happens on boats that we are very good at hiding. Yeah. You know, and there's real emergencies that happen. I think the scariest thing about yachting is how real the danger is. Like, at any point, you know, boat fires happen, running aground happens, you know, there's real problems and stuff out there. That's kind of what scares me, and it also excites me at the same time, is knowing that there is that aspect. Well, you know me, I love that aspect of like danger and like shit at any moment could go really wrong, and I'm like, yes.
Maybe a little too much.
Like I kind of like, I don't know, and people have seen this in like the show and stuff too, but like the second one thing goes chaotic, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, you do. You thrive in chaos, which, I mean, honestly, that's probably a really good characteristic to have, especially in your industry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want a fire on my boat, but like
under pressure, you're you're not somebody who shuts down under pressure.
Yeah, try not to. Yeah. Unless I'm like really hungry, and then I'm like, fuck it, I can't. Don't mess with me. I've had it.
Hungry, just forget it. Ask her after she eats a meal.
But I think that, I'd say that's what scares me. Another thing that scares me is like, I don't know. I'm always afraid, like, will I do this forever? What? I don't know. What do I want to be in yachting? I mean, obviously, I want to be a captain. So it's like, what do I have to sacrifice? You know. Yeah. At some point, I want to have a house with a little raccoon.
Maybe a couple squirrels.
Yeah. Not babies, raccoons. So I don't know. Yeah, that's kind of scary too, but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's something I think like so many people can relate to that no matter what. Yeah. You know, it's like I feel like that question that we always ask ourselves, no matter how old we are, is like, what do you want to be when you grow up? You know?
Yeah.
And you can change your mind anytime.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same. I did too.
Yeah.
Best decision I ever made. Probably never going to regret it because you can always go back to something. You know, like if you left yachting and took a break or something, it's not like you can never go back to that again.
Yeah, and like I think I now hold licenses, so like if I left, I could go run a dive boat, or I could, you know, go work at a dive shop, or try to go back to the corporate world. You know, like I'm a true believer that if anyone wants to change what they're doing now, it's never too late. Like, just pack your shit.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I love it.
Well, complacency is what scares me the most. I can't. Well, you know that. But yeah, like, I think that's why yachting excites me.
Yeah, like always trying something new, always having a new challenge, learning every single day. Danger. Yeah. Okay, so from Equan182, what is your favorite moment from filming?
Of all time? That's a tough one, but I would say...
I know what mine is.
What?
Because I texted you about it.
With Lloyd?
Well, I love Lloyd so much from watching the show. I've never met him or talked to him. But when David, him and Z, like, they just ate shit so many times.
Oh, yeah.
Like
they
when David,
constantly...
When David fell on the boat and they replayed it 3 times, I was crying. I was laughing so hard, which is, like, so mean. I shouldn't laugh at someone falling, but...
I actually don't know if they showed Z's worst fall. He actually fell on a sea bob once, but it was so cute. I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and he just, like, stands back up, and he's, like looks around, and we're, like, dying laughing. We're like, Z, everyone saw that. Like, don't pretend like no one just saw you, completely eat shit.
I love watching people fall, and it's like, because I'm clumsy, I fall, and I always laugh. Like, remember in Boulder when I, like, really ruined my ankle when I was walking.
Yeah, it's funny.
Dogs.
When people eat shit, it's funny.
Yeah, and Kelsey's laughing, and like, she's literally crying from laughing, and I'm like laughing, but also crying from pain.
You're like, my ankle's broken.
My ankle was like the size of a softball that night.
Yeah, like, at this last season of filming, as soon as you'd come into the tender garage, there was a big crane that kind of like was low. Every time, sure enough, I'd be in there, or like a camera crew member would come in, and you just hear the camera go whack, and you're like, it was so funny. For like 30 seconds, everything would just stop because everyone's laughing. You're like, you idiot.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love it.
But my favorite memory, I think, is just overall, it's just bonding with the crew. I think my favorite memory from this last season is like all of us, our last night when we're all just kind of having that end of the season like party in the crew mess. Yeah. And we just didn't care. We're like, we're like dancing on the Lazy Susan. Like they were throwing like chips around. Like people are doing beer bongs. Like it was awesome. It was just like, we've done it. We've done the season. We're all still really good friends. And we just had one big drama-free night of just like pure fun.
Yeah, that episode I was like, man, I wish I was there right now. Like,
oh man, you would have loved it. I was like stripping on the Lazy Susan.
Classic.
Like, we need to get one of those for the house.
Absolutely.
Like whoever strip club should have. Like that's a great idea.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
A Lazy Susan.
Just like spin around.
Yes.
And that would be hilarious. My cats would love it too.
Okay, stop.
All right, next question. Isabel VS, what is the most exciting part of your job?
The most exciting part for me is, one is like getting to explore new places. I love exploring.
And
so
get to go to the most beautiful places in the world.
Yeah. So getting to go to those places is very exciting. Also, I like the aspect of just meeting all kinds of people, like charter guests. Mm-hmm. You get some crazy ones, you get some cool ones, like you get people from all, I wouldn't say walks of life, but you get people like just all different types of characters that come on, and it's really cool just constantly meeting new people.
Yeah.
And crew, like I work with people from all over the world.
Yeah.
So
it's amazing. Like that's one thing that I'm envious of, that aspect of your life, because we get so stuck in like our day-to-day and like, the town that we live in and what's on the news in the town that we live in and what's going on. It's like, there's a whole world out there. There's different cultures that so many people will never experience. Like people who don't travel or have never left the country. And that's something that you get to experience that all the time with
I almost take it for granted. Yeah. I'm very fortunate. And a funny thing is, because I'm around so many different nationalities, I think I have a bit of a different accent now.
Oh, it's totally changed over the years. And it's just little things. It's like...
Or words I'll say. Like, I say proper now, and I'm like, no, I never grew up saying proper. I'm like, oh, that's proper, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what?
And even like...
I drink tea, like, I'm British.
And the inflection at the end, which is something that I've noticed that a lot of the people from South Africa would do, where they would inflect the end of their sentence.
I work with
like
a lot
that.
of Saffas.
Yeah, and
we all call each other
before.
like Ditty Pig as well, which I don't know, or say ya instead of yeah.
I know. I remember asking him like, "What is a Ditty Pig?"
Well, I work with a lot of South Africans, or say brew, like how's it brew?
Yeah,
that's not something I never would have said that.
Yeah. Your vocabulary has expanded.
Yes, for better or for worse.
In some ways, it's great. All right, so from Victoria Nicole, how do other people in yachting feel about filming like the show and the cast?
That's a tough one. So I didn't really know this, but when I first did the show, I was super excited. I was like, yeah, yachting. I did the show to get into yachting, and then I got into yachting, and people were like, don't ever do the show because you'll never get a job again. So I was like, what did I just do? I just shot myself in the foot. But that's not true anymore. I don't think. I think it's becoming widely accepted in the industry. It's done a lot of, it's had pros and cons within the industry itself. But, at the end of the day, if someone doesn't want to hire you because of an experience that you've had, like, they can go fuck themselves. Honestly.
I agree, and that's that's just like instilling fear in people instead of just letting them do what they want. Like, so let's say if I did something like I had an acting job before this, you're not gonna hire me because of it? Like, come on. Yeah. I have a friend in Denver who just left the outdoor industry and went to tech. And she's like working at this big tech company now. Her income like double. I mean, she's doing just amazing things. And her old boss, when she gave her notice, literally said, "Good luck ever finding a job again. You'll never be able to come back from tech." And she was like, "Why would I want to?"
But it's like that attitude is so old school.
It's like this is what I'm getting away from.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? It's just such a weird thing to say.
Honestly, we should be looking at that whole like attitude of like, let's see what your CV says, and I'm going to judge you based off of that. It's just kind of, it's more like you should be happy that people have different experiences. It's not all the run of the mill or the norm. Like,
why would you want to hire someone who's done the same thing
over and over and over
and over?
Like,
that's like. Yeah, you want somebody who has all these different experiences and different perspectives. Like, it's nothing's exciting about doing the same thing.
So when people are like, oh, you'll never find a job, I'm like, so I currently work in the industry. I do have a job. I have a really good job for a really, good boat and family. So, thanks
so
for the advice. I'll pass.
I mean, it's just I think that's more of like a personality that you're like, all right, I'm just going to steer clear.
But I also think it's like them like reflecting, like it's their ego, and like
it's all ego.
If a captain doesn't want to hire a crew member because of that, like they're limiting themselves, and they're judging someone based off of
and you don't want to work for somebody with that
who does that
outlook anyway.
So
all right.
That up.
From Jenna 813, what is your favorite part of doing the show?
My favorite part is meeting the new crew every time, and also like just getting to experience like the whole production side of it. Like I said, like it's a whole nother life experience. I never in a million years thought I'd be seeing, productions and green screens and all this kind of thing. Like it's really cool to see those people's jobs. I mean, there should be a show about production crews because they're wild.
Yeah.
So it's cool just getting to learn that whole environment.
Yeah, and it's like just a wild industry.
Yeah, there's
so much out there.
Us.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, I love this guy's Instagram name, Lord Fluppington.
Yes.
When will we see you as a captain? My favorite question too.
That is my favorite question as well. Soon. Yeah. I have it. It's my goal to be, captaining a ship soon. I won't put a time frame on it, but
You're working on it.
I'm very close. I feel very confident. I've only been in the industry for 5 years, but I'm getting there. Yeah. I have some great mentors, and I feel more comfortable. I feel very comfortable in the bridge now, and Captain Malia White will be soon.
Love it. All right, from Katie Louise 094, did you dock walk? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, so that's for crew that are looking for work in the industry. So it's very common when you're a green crew member they call it dock walk or dock walking. And literally, this is the most
dock, D-O-C-K for people listening, not dog walking, dock.
Yes, dock, like Doc Martin. So this is where you take your CV and you basically walk the docks looking for jobs. And it's so nerve-wracking.
It's a humbling thing.
Yeah. I've actually never had to do it.
Okay.
I was fortunate enough to not have to do it. But this is how a lot of crew members get their first job, is literally going door to door, knocking on the yachts and asking if they need work or need help for the day.
Wow.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of talent,
like crew agents. Yeah.
That help kind of place people, right?
Yeah, but you could, your name can get lost in a sea of people.
Yeah.
There's hundreds of people looking for jobs all the time. So dock walking is more like, I'm brave enough to go up, hand you my CV, meet you in person. We've hired crew that have been dock walking before. Like, it's just, my tip, she asked if there's any tips. My tip is, let your resume stand out and do something creative. Like, people now do video resumes instead of just the same old boring paper one. They do.
What do they do on a USB? I mean, computers these days sometimes don't even have a USB.
Well, no, they post it on the crew agents' websites or the Facebook groups.
So you can't do that dock walking.
No, but make a cool something that stands out and when you're dock walking, just give it your all, just vibrant personality.
I find
make me
impressive.
laugh.
Yeah, and it's impressive to have the courage to go around and dock walk because that you're facing rejection.
Yeah, my hat's off to those. I could not have done that. I would have been do you know?
It's so funny that there's a whole term in the yachting world for that that no one else would ever know.
Dock walking. Yeah.
Love it. All right, so Remy Schnauzer wants to know, what was it like working and also being filmed?
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, you quickly forget that there's cameras. I remember once I nailed one of the cameramen so hard with a fender because, you forget and you're full on charter, you go, especially on deck, you're just your head's down, you're time to get the fenders in, and I flipped this fender in and just boom, nailed the cameraman so hard, and I was like, I'm sorry, I forgot that you're right here. Or sometimes you'll turn around really quick and you forget that they're following you in stride.
Wow.
Turn around, it's just collision. I'm probably one of the worst with that because I just forget. I just forget about that's probably why they love me, but also why they hate me because I run into cameras
they
a
leave
lot.
With bruises after working with Malia.
Yeah, or also my microphone. I don't have the time to take that thing off every time. I have to pee more than the average human, so I don't have the time to take that thing off.
Yeah.
For number 1 or 2, so I just run in. I'm like, sorry guys, you're gonna probably want to turn this off, but I can't de-mic and mic every time. Yeah, I don't have time for that. I gotta get back out on deck.
And there's not just a little switch that you can.
No, I'm not, you're not allowed to touch them. You just. Yeah, and it's strapped and it's wired through my uniform.
Wow.
And some people take the time to they're so embarrassed to take the microphone off. You know me, I'm sorry guys, and I run in.
Right, yeah.
And
you got shit to do.
Yeah, I gotta get back out on deck.
You've got shit to do.
Yeah, I gotta get back out on deck. Well, and me with farting too. The camera crew laughs hysterically because I just fart and they're like,
anyone
Malia.
who spends a 8-hour day with Malia will hear her fart, guaranteed.
Yeah. Well, they'll be getting a close up, and I'm like, oh man, you're not gonna want to be here in 3 seconds.
Right. You've got 3 seconds to get out of my space.
Oh, I've cleared the camera multiple times, but yeah, you kind of just forget. But also, there's cameras in your cabin, and there's cameras all over. So you for it to be natural and stuff, you just gotta forget about them.
Yeah, for sure.
I just have to remember to not be fully nude in my cabin. I have to change in the bathroom, which is not normal. I'll run in and rip my shirt off, and then I'm like, oh.
Can't they just blur it out?
Yeah, but they're not going to. That's juicy. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't know. Maybe they will.
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like they do have to blur it out.
I don't know.
Okay, so from Nikayla Holmes, what has been your biggest accomplishment yet?
I would say my biggest accomplishment is, for me personally, it's kind of gonna get a little deep, but it's honestly taking the leap that I took and changing my industry and kind of creating this life that I have now. Like, I did not see this for myself. I have always been pretty independent. My parents went through a divorce like later in life, and I kind of was left up to my own device. And I don't know, that my biggest accomplishment is stepping outside of my comfort zone and trying to succeed and knowing that I could easily fail.
Yeah, so. That's awesome. That's such a fantastic question too, I think. You know?
It's easy to say like my biggest accomplishment is one of my tickets or licensing, but honestly, bigger picture, it's that I'm even sitting here in the first place. Like, I could have easily just fallen back and not ever tried. And
like, it's everything combined. Like, all of that stuff is hard. Like, having to study and take an exam, that's always going to be tough. But it's like, what does it help you like truly achieve? Like, what's the big picture? Yeah,
I'm also, like, I'm not your stereotypical deck crew member. I'm not just female. I am female, but also I'm 5'2". I'm short. I'm little. Yeah. Like, how many times I've been told, like, well, you're not going to be a captain because you're not tall enough, or you're not this or that.
Haven't you guys ever heard of a step stool?
Yeah, phone books.
Yeah. I'm 4'11". I use a step stool to get to my cabinets in my kitchen.
Yeah. So, like, I don't know. It's just that I'm, like, kind of sitting here in the first place. Yeah. Like, or that I can. 5 years ago, I didn't know what the bridge of a yacht is, and now I'm.
Yeah.
And
you had no clue what you wanted to do. 5 years ago, you were like, I don't know, I just want something that allows me to travel, which what 25, 26-year-old doesn't want a job that allows them to travel? Like, that's what everybody says, but you never, like, it's rare when you actually see someone like find this incredible success doing something that also allows them to do the things that they really, really love.
Yeah, well, and I also remember I was working at a franchise company, and when I came back from the show and I went to them to finally like quit, I said, I think I'm actually gonna go and try to do this. Like, I'm gonna go and try and to be in yachting. And stereotypically, but I had like this boardroom of just older men, and they just looked at me and they're like, you're being stupid. Like, you should not do that. Like, you have a good job here, just put your head down, get back to work. And I was like, nah, I'm good, thanks. I think I'll try. And that was so nerve-wracking because we talked about it more. I'm like, am I being stupid? I've had many sleepless nights over it. I was like, I've got a good job here. I hate it, but I've got a good job. Should I do this? Should I not do it? And then eventually it was like, you know what? I've got to try.
Yeah, and
I can come back. If I fail, I can sleep on Amanda's couch and
forever. Yeah. Well, and it's just crazy. Like, everything that you ever try in life, like, if you're not scared, then you're being complacent, But like, being willing to try anything is such a great, like, that's such an amazing quality. You never know what's going to come of it. And like, look at in 5 short years, like, how much it's drastically changed your life.
Yeah. Amen.
All right. From Abby Miles 123, what is your tattoo? Is it an octopus? Been trying to figure this out for years. I love that.
Yes, Abby, this tattoo is an octopus.
Yeah,
and it's
I
very
remember when you got
near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, it was when we lived together and you went to Hawaii and came back, and it was so cool. It was such like on a whim too. You were always like, I don't think I'll get another one. Or
it was supposed to be like this big. It was supposed to be like a couple centimeters, and then the artist was like, he just got to talking to me. We talked about my family, kind of like my upbringing, and he's sketching. And then he gets done and it's massive. And he's like, look, this is what I see for you. Octopuses are supposed to be like big and flowy. What do you think? And I like took a step outside, looked at it, and I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, I
love it. 4.5 hours later.
Ouch. From Katie McGill, do you think that you will work with Sandy again?
Yeah, I hope so. I love working with Captain Sandy. She's been a mentor for me for a long time now, and it would be a pleasure to work for her again. Hopefully one day I'll get to be, her officer in the bridge. The thing I love the most about Captain Sandy is she is always willing to teach, so I'm hoping so.
That's awesome. Yeah, she seems super in your corner with everything. She's always
and I think
rooting for you. She's hard on you, but it's like you always told, the people that are the hardest on you are the people that believe in you the most, because they're putting that energy into you.
Well, yeah, and look, the woman has gone through so much to be where she's standing today, and she deserves respect. At the end of the day, her and I can have an off day at work. It's no different than any. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, me and my partners have off days plenty.
That doesn't mean we hate each other. That doesn't mean our relationships ruined. That just means we had an off day at work. And I respect that woman so much. I respect her as both a person and a captain. And I'd be honored to.
And that's like leaders that you really respect. It's like you can go to work, have really good days, have days where you absolutely hate each other. Yeah. And you get over it. It's like family or friends. Yeah. I mean, you and I have had days like that.
Yeah.
All right. From Elena ETG, what advice do you have about getting started as a female deckhand? It's probably the most asked question.
Yeah. That's always a big one. My biggest advice is, figure out what you want to do. Figure out if there's a specialty that you have. Get your STCW first, and then if you want to get your first license for driving boats, like your power boat or like a yacht master or something, get some sort of ticket. I have an AEC for engineering. Anything that can set you out on deck, do that. Mm-hmm. A lot of deck crew have personal trainer or yoga certificates or kiteboarding or GoPro experience. Anything that can set you apart, do that.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Kiteboarding is a huge one. There's some badass chicks that kiteboard and, they're deck crew. Yeah. So you're not only deck crew, but you're the kiteboard instructor on the boat. Or me, I was deckhand / dive instructor on the boat.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of girls I know in the industry on deck, some have yoga teacher training, some have, drone flying experience. So whatever you can get that kind of makes you stand out, do that.
Yeah, that's good advice. Okay, from the KC, Malia, you said that you want to drive the biggest boats they have. Why such big boats?
The biggest.
The biggest.
The biggest. Why such big boats for such a tiny human?
Because size matters. Just kidding.
What I mean by that is I want to push myself to get the highest ticket. I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop short of the highest ticket. I want to keep going. I want to get to the top and, push myself to get there.
Would you?
I don't need to drive the biggest boat out there. I just mean I probably don't want to do that. I want to have the biggest ticket.
Would you ever would you want to be a captain of a cruise ship? Is that something that you're that'd be really cool, or is that something that you're it'd be cool?
Funny you ask. Celebrity cruise line. I'm just kidding. Yes, I would love to.
Yeah. I cannot imagine. Those are huge.
Okay, I've never met her or really spoken to her. I'm hoping to have her on the show later on, but Captain Kate McHugh. She is a female captain of a cruise ship, and she's my idol.
Oh my gosh.
She wears little red bottoms. She's so cool, and I'm
we have to have her on the show.
I want to be her when I grow up. Yeah. And I'm yes, I would love to. Yeah. I'd drive a cruise ship.
That's so cool.
Maybe she can teach me.
There you go. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so from Nikayla Holmes. Does the show impact being hired on other yachts outside of the TV show? We kind of already touched on that
one.
We
touched on that. If it does, that boat's not worth my time.
Yeah, for sure. Right. All right. So from Codeman869, do you keep paper charts in addition to digital charts in case there's issues with a chart computer?
So I'm going to speak specifically about my boat because, again, it's different with every boat, and if they're anyway, it can get kind of confusing. So to keep it simple, my boat runs what's called a dual ECDIS system. So we have 2 electronic chart displays so that we have our primary and our secondary. And for the listeners, our electronic chart display is basically an electronic map, is how I'm going to put this, so that when we're navigating, we know where we're going. So primary and secondary, in case our primary drops out, we have a secondary that works. So if you are on a boat that has a dual ECDIS system, you're not required by law to carry paper charts, but it's still a good idea because, you know, electronics, there's a good chance both could drop. Well, no, there's not a good chance, but in the chance that they both drop out, then you have paper charts. But if you have dual ECDIS, you don't have to have paper charts. But
paper charts too, though, it's like you spill water on it.
You could. Well,
you accidentally drop it.
You're not really allowed to have a lot of. Okay, you're not doing your charts outside on deck.
I don't know.
You're doing them in the bridge, and you're not allowed to have open drinks in the bridge.
Again, these are things that people like me who don't know anything about yachting don't know. Well, I love having paper charts because it's old school. You know, you still have to learn, and it's just a good thing to practice and keep up with and learn and to have them in the bridge. So every boat that I've actually been on, even though we've had dual ECDIS, we've kept paper charts just because it's a good thing to practice. Gotcha. Okay, from Stefan0712, with no experience but electric and technical background, could I get a job as a deckhand?
Absolutely, yeah. But electrical and technical background, you'd probably be better off as an engineer, and you'll make better money right away. Deck crew, you know, especially if you're older, for deck crew, you've got to kind of work your way up. Engineering, you can jump right in and make really good money right away. So any electrical, mechanical, technical background, I'd say jump into engineering. If you want to do deck, there's definitely that as well.
All right, awesome. Well, that wraps up our questions for today.
That was a good one, guys.
Yeah.
We'll ask more fan questions later on, I'm sure.
Yes.
But that's it. So a reminder to follow Total Ship Show on all social accounts. And this has been a fun episode with Amanda.
It's been a lot of fun.